Hi everyone. So today we're going to use our Google Drawings in our Google Drive again, and we're going to pull up our Google Drawings and we are going to create graffiti name art in Google Drawings. So the first thing I want you to do is put your last name up here, or your first and last would be nice. And I'm going to write graffiti name. So that way I know which one this is, because unlike you, I have to put mine all into one folder. So Mrs. Comstock's graffiti name. So we're going to leave our canvas empty for a background. We're not going to add a background to this like we usually do. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to hit insert and we're going to go all the way down to word art. And this little word art piece is going to come in here. Now, when we're doing graffiti, we're going to have to do each letter by itself. So you're going to get your letter that shows up. And this isn't very graffiti-like. This is more text-like. So we want to change this up. So we're going to look through our fonts and we're going to come up with some different ones. I'm going to use a couple different fonts when I do this. I like this one. And so I have my shape of my C because I'm going to do Comstock for my last name. I'm going to go to my border weight and I'm going to go all the way down to 8 because graffiti always has nice dark outlines on it. And I want to teach you something right now. So when we go into the fill for our color, instead of it just being one solid color for our letter, I'm going to teach you how to create a gradient. So we're going to go to custom and we're going to have this piece right up here again. It's just like when we did our digital weaving. We are going to click our first color, which will be at the top of our letter. And we're going to click on the little circle and you're going to pick whatever color you want it to be. So say I want it to be really, really bright. So I'm going to have this color right here. Okay. And then right here on the very bottom of my letter, I'm going to click and I'm going to change it to a darker, let's do a purple. Ooh, that is really pretty. Now, I want to also show you that if you decide you want 3 colors on here, so you got like your really bright light blue, right? And then you've got like this bluish color in the middle, and then you have purple on the end. We can change this bluish color right here to something different. So like maybe we do green. So we have like blue, green, purple, okay? And then we hit okay. So this is how you create that different gradients of colors that are blending. Now, if you decide that you want to, hold on here. No, I like it. We're going to leave it. Okay, so here's the deal. With graffiti, there is always like a darker shadow behind your letters. Each letter is going to have a nice, like, so it pops out more. So graffiti is all about bigger, bolder styles and being the most exciting piece that is on out there, so that way it's eye-catching. Remember, graffiti started in the 1970s, and the 1980s was the golden age of graffiti, where graffiti started becoming more than just tagging your name on the wall. It started becoming art, like where people started creating like their gradient and their shading, and they wanted their letters to pop out and they wanted it to be bright and bold and eye-catching, and they started creating images to go along with their graffiti, which is really, really cool. So I have my letter selected and I'm going to hit Control C and I'm copying it, and I'm going to hit Control V. So now I have 2 of my C's. We're going to do this for every single letter. So I'm going to select the one behind the first C, and I'm going to hit my fill button, and I'm going to bring it back to my solid color, and I'm going to make it black right behind it. This is how you create that bold 3-dimensional look where your letter is going to pop out. All right. So now we're going to go back to insert word art, and we're going to do every single letter individually. Now this is really cool. So if you decide you want your O to be kind of like Okay, yeah, I really like that the O is very like stylized right in this one. And I'm going to drag it and I'm going to bring it right up over here. I want it to be kind of, you know what? Now that I think of it, I'm going to change it up a little bit. Oh dear. Hold on. So this is kind of fun, actually. I like playing with this stuff, to be honest. Like this is kind of, oh, I'm going to use that for another letter. So okay, we're going to go back to this one. So I bring my O and I overlapped it right here. That is completely fine. I'm going to go over and do my border weight again, 8. You can do it less than 8, but 8 makes a really nice dark line around it so that way it connects with stuff. I'm going to hit my fill color. I'm going to go to my gradient and look, my custom color is already here. All I have to do is click it and it's set. Then I'm going to hit Control Copy, Control V, and I have my letter. Now I'm going to go behind that one. I'm going to go back to solid and I'm going to hit the black. I want my O's to work with me. Okay, so I want my O's to be grouped together. So I just selected over top of them. I'm going to go to arrange and I'm going to go to group. So now my O's are together. So when I move them, they'll be together. I want them to be right in here. Now I'm going to select my C's, my C. I have 2 separate C's going on here. Yes, I do. Hold on a second. So we're going to select them. No. This is why you got to select your stuff ahead of time so that way you remember. Go to arrange, go to group. Okay, so now my C's are together. So I'm going to bring my O back in here. I have a plan for this. I'm going to take my C's and I'm going to arrange, order, bring to front. So I want my C to be in front of my O. I'm going to make my O right over here. So that way they're a little bit of overlapping and we have some excitement going on. All right. So then I'm going to do this for the rest of my letters. I'm going to put M and I'm going to put S, T, O, C, K. So, okay. So I went over to this tab where I have my Comstock already done because I didn't want you guys to have to sit through me fiddling with every single letter. So this is one that I made beforehand, and this is the word I'm doing. I selected all of them together, and I went to arrange, and I hit group. So they're already grouped together. And you can also ungroup stuff if you decide that you don't want things to be grouped together, which is interesting. Remember, you can change the size of your letters. You can change the fonts. You make them all exciting, okay? What I want you to do from here is I want you to select your polyline tool and I want you to come up with some really cool, crazy graffiti outline. I kind of want to do them like a little bit. This is kind of tricky right here because we're getting kind of close. But this works. So I'm creating a outline around my letters. I'm going to bring this one right over here and right over there. Okay, so I have this. Remember how ordering goes. So I have this piece, right? And I have decided that I'm going to fill it with a crazy bright green. And I am going to make my border really dark because I want it to really pop out. Now I'm going to go over to my select tool. This is my background piece is selected. You're going to go to arrange. You're going to order and you're sending it to the back. That way my letters pop out in front of it. So I have this nice complementary color going on. If I decided that I didn't want this to be green and I want it to be an orange color, that would also work because blue and orange are complementary colors. purple, and yellow are complementary colors. Okay? But it just depends on what you want to do. Now, see, that's just a lot of blue. I'm really liking this green idea. So I'm going to stick with the green, okay? So I have some kind of awesome design going on. If you decide that you want to create a polyline animal that you want to stick on your stuff, or you have like a little person you want to add to it, we've done all kinds of things. You could do a mosaic design around the back of this. You could do extra little pieces in here to make it exciting. So like maybe it's got like another background that kind of sticks out and has some color to it. This is tricky stuff, guys. Okay, so I got this piece. Maybe I'm going to make that a bright yellow. No. I'm going to make it. No. I'm going to make it. Yeah, it matches. So maybe I want to go around and add some of these little things right here to like stylize my graffiti a little bit more, so that way it's not just one piece. It has a bunch of different pieces on here. Maybe you want to like hide a little character peeking out behind stuff. It is completely up to you. Okay, so I have some like little things going on. So that way it's like super cool and it's really awesome. I want to go back in and I want to select each of these and I want to make the borders a little bit darker, because even if they're just 4 and not 8, I want them to pop out on their own without being just plain sitting there. Because graffiti is all about getting noticed. So when they used to have graffiti wars going on, it was all about who could get noticed the most. So the more little things that you put in your graffiti to catch the attention of people, the more you would be noticed. Now, graffiti started in New York City on the subway trains in 1970s by a guy named Tacky. And he was just tagging his name everywhere. And he would put some numbers on there. It was like Tacky 129 or whatever it was. And he would just leave them everywhere, and people were starting to wonder who he was, and that's where it led to this. Now, gangs use graffitis to mark territories, but most graffiti is created by artists who use it to promote their art and get noticed. Okay? Graffiti is multicultural, and it is part of the 4 forms of creative expression that all started in New York City, which is really wonderful. All right, so our graffiti is pretty much done as far as our name, and we just need to add a wall for our stuff to go on. So I'm going to type in brick wall background, and I'm going to find a brick wall that I like. Let's see, I like this one. And I'm going to insert this. So what happens when you insert an image? It's going to go right over top of everything. That is completely fine. Not a big deal. We're going to fit it to our canvas. So we are dragging. And then remember, we're going to arrange, order, and we're sending it all the way to the back. So now I have Comstock on my graffiti wall. And if you decide that you don't like your wall, you can always change your picture. But I want you to get used to using your arrange tool. And I can't wait to see how amazing you guys make your little graffiti names. Please use either your first name or your last name for this assignment, and later on you can make your own stuff. All right? Happy graffitiing.